started. Awesome. Okay, well, welcome back, Matrix. It's really nice to have all of you here with us again. As I said to you last time, Coco and I really love it when you interact with us and ask us questions. So please ask as many questions as you need to. This is all about you and about helping you understand what's going on in geometry. So yeah, we want this to be as beneficial to you as possible. Also, with it being Thursday, remember that it's quiz day. So we'll stop a few minutes earlier, which will allow you to go and complete the quiz. It's super quick and easy. So please take part. It's really nice for us to be able to see how you're doing and also to be able to give the feedback to your parents. And what we will be doing in future is we will be giving some feedback on these quizzes. So at least you also can understand where you went wrong and how you can improve. All right, so the last time that we were together, we had spoken about proportions and what proportions are and what proportionality intercept theorem was. So I'm just doing a quick recap and then we're going to jump straight into some work. Okay, so remember last time we had said that the proportionality intercept theorem tells us that the line drawn to one side of a triangle, so the line drawn to one side of the triangle will be this side over here. This is the line drawn parallel to one side of the triangle, divides the other two sides proportionally. Okay, so the remaining two sides are cut into the same proportions. All right, so it's those sides over there. All right, and remember when we make a statement, this is a proportion over here. When we make a proportion statement, I'm just going to highlight it in blue. All right. We have to then use a reason. Okay, so in geometry, we always have to use a reason to substantiate the statement that we've made. Okay, so if you recall from last night, it was okay for us to say prop int theorem. Okay, and then remember we have to name the parallel lines. Okay, so what we're hopefully going to be able to do today is we're going to be able to look at proportionality intercept theorem in one triangle, and then towards the end of the lesson hopefully we're going to be able to look at proportionality intercept theorem in more than one triangle. Okay, so straight into our traffic lights. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do one as an example, and then I'm going to give you guys one or two to try. Okay, so I'm going to start off with number one. What I'm going to do is I'll just move that out the way for now. Yes, September.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, ma'am. I came in a bit late. Please just quickly revise what you guys went over in the first 3 minutes.
Okay, so September, all I was doing was just running through proportionality intercept theorem again. All right, so if you look up here, I was just going through the theorem and saying, remember, it tells us that a line drawn parallel to one side of a triangle divides the other two sides proportionally. So in other words, PQ drawn parallel to BC cuts AB and AC into the same proportions. All right, and then if we make a proportion statement, we then have to use proportionality intercept theorem as our reason. Okay, so if you are making a proportion, then you then have to write next to prop in theorem and name the parallel lines that are responsible for this proportion. Okay, so that's all I had said. I hadn't gone any further than that. All right, and now what I want us to try and do is as much work as we possibly can. So I hope all of you are ready to do some questions on your own, and then we can do some other questions together. But this is really, really good practice for you guys. Okay, so if we have a look at number one, okay, let's start there. We have, is it big enough? Can everybody see it okay? Let's move this silly little traffic light out the way. All right, that should be big enough. Okay, what they want us to do here, Matrix, is they want us to calculate the value of not y. Well, mind you, I suppose we could make this y. They've called it x here and y there, which is a bit silly, but okay, there we go. Calculate the value of y, right? Now, you don't have to do this, but it's less work for you afterwards if you put your unknown in the numerator of your first fraction. But you don't have to do that, okay? So I can make the following statement about what I see. I can see that ST is parallel to QR. That means that ST cuts PQ and PR into the same proportions. So in other words, okay, Y, my unknown, over 10 is going to be equal to 2 over 5. Once I've made that statement, I have to back it up with a reason. So my reason is going to go next to this, and I'm going to write proportionality intercept theorem. And then I mustn't forget to name the parallel lines. So that's it, ST parallel to QR. Remember last time I said to you that the matric markers are very fussy about that. If we don't name our parallel lines, they are not going to give us the mark for this reason. Okay, so please, please, please do not forget about naming your parallel lines. And now, super easy, if you recall from the last time, we want to make y the subject to the formula. So now we can just cross multiply 10 and 2 together. So that means that y is going to be equal to 10 times 2 is 20 divided by 5 is 4. Super, super easy. Okay, is everybody okay with that? Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to let you guys try number 2 on your own. It's not identical to number 1, but it's something that you should be able to do. So you try number 2 on your own, and I'm going to give you 3 minutes. If you get stuck, ask Coco and I. Okay, Tinanda says, please give us 5 minutes. It's raining on this side. Okay, that's fine. That's not a problem. If you are already finished with number 2, I've moved something else into the screen that you can carry on with in the meantime. Okay, so there's B1. And I think I might have copied the same diagram again. Is that identical? Oh, that wasn't very clear with me. Okay, so try B1. If you've already finished number 2. Adam, we're going to talk about the answers now, okay? But thanks for popping your suggestion in the chat. Okay, so you should theoretically have been able to finish, beg your pardon, question number 2 by now. Right, it's not a long question. And then Ketcha says struggling with sound. I don't know if we can help with that. Okay, so let's have a look at how we should have done question number 2. All right, and then we can talk about the next one. All right, so what we have in this particular question is the whole side 35. Okay, we don't know what BC is, but we know that AC is 35, right? Y is a proportion of that side. So again, if we start off by putting our unknown into the numerator, we would say Y over 35. Okay, now, Adam, I'm going to ask you, what am I going to put as my fraction on the other side of this proportion? If I've said Y over 35, what do I have to say on the right-hand side? Okay, so Zia M, 18 over 42. Lovely. Okay, 18 over 42. So now, just in case you're too scared to ask, where does Zia get that from? Well, the Y is this bit over here. So Y and 18 correspond with one another. Okay, and then here over 35, that's this whole side over here. Okay, so what Zia had done was added Pumeza. She had added 18 and 24 together. Lovely, good job. Remember, we've got to write prop in theorem. Yes, Roro-san, what's your question? Go ahead and ask. Roro-san, I'm battling to hear you a little bit. Ask again.
I got the same answer, but like in a different manner. You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay, so Roro-san, what did you do? Tell us what you did.
I said Y over 35 minus Y because it said everything equals to 35.
So you said Y over 35 minus?
Y.
Like that?
Yeah, as in BC equals 35 minus Y.
Oh, okay. All right. So as in BC equals 35 minus Y. Okay, cool. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. Sorry, I'm being stupid today. Of course, that's what you mean. Okay. And then what did you say?
Then I said 18 over 24.
Okay. So you said Y. Come on, pen. You said Y over 35 minus Y is 18 over 24. That is beautiful. I'm so glad you shared that with us. That's excellent. There's always more than one way to do this. And I'm sure with all of the matrics that are sitting here tonight, there's probably other ways that people would have done it as well. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, Roro-san. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so you can do that too if you want to. All right, good. Well done. That's really, really nice. Okay, thanks for sharing that with us. It's always nice to see, well, we could do it this way, but how else could we do it? All right, that's really great. All right, now those of us that managed to do question B1 was pretty similar. All right, so over here, anybody who managed to do that, do you want to share your answer or how you did it? X is 24, says Ipeling. Okay, Tobile?
Yeah, I got the same.
You got the same. You also got 24. So I guess
Yes.
the easiest thing to do here would probably have been to go X over 6 is 28 over 7. Exactly. And then prop in theorem, name the parallel lines quickly, and then we can cross multiply. Okay, so yeah, 6 times 8 divided by 7 would give us 24. So that's really good. Well done. Okay, so now the last one that we're going to try before we move on to the more difficult questions. Hang on, I shoved some questions off to the side there, but we can go and have a look at them now. Okay, so we're going to look either at number 3 or at number 4. Hopefully that's nice and big and in the center of your screen at the moment. Okay, same idea as what we've been doing, except these ones have more X's in them. All right, so what I want you to try is either number 3 or number 4, or if you're a super fast worker and you really understand this, try and challenge yourself to do both. Okay, and again, we're going to give you let's say 4 minutes. Might need a little bit longer here. Okay, Coco and I are here for you. If you need anything, just ask. Okay, ready, steady, go. There you go, Tinande, it's there on the screen, okay?
Ma'am, are we solving for x?
You are solving for x.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, we moved the instruction a bit. So yes, calculate with reasons the value of x in each of the following triangles. So yes, you are solving for x. Yes, September.
I'm sorry, ma'am, for asking such a dumb question, but when you
There's
say
no dumb questions. Go for it.
when you say 2x divided by x, you're basically canceling out the x because the yeah, are you canceling out the x's, or you just it's gonna become, is it gonna be 2? Okay, wait, let me start again.
Okay, so which question are you doing on question number 3, September?
Yes, I'm asking, when you divide 2x by x, are you gonna get 2 or are you gonna get x?
If you divide x by x, you're going to get 1.
No, 2, if you divide 2x by x, is it x or is it 2?
2. Because
Okay,
x divided by x is 1. Okay, so 2 times 1 is 2. That's what you would get.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I haven't found a situation where I've had to go x divided by x, but then maybe I'm wrong. But we'll talk about it when we mark it.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am?
Yes, a corner. I'll go for it. Or is it 3 still?
Yes, ma'am. I'm actually stuck. Am I gonna say?
That's okay. What are you stuck on number 3?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Let's do it together then. If other people that are finished, it's fine. I will just work slowly through this. Okay, so you can see that side NP is drawn parallel to side LM. That means that it cuts sides KL and KM into the same proportions. So in other words, if we see side KN, which is 3x, over 2, it is cut in the same proportions as KP, which is x plus 7, over side PM, which is x plus 1. Okay, so proportionality, intercept theorem, NP parallel to LM. Okay, so always write your statement and then your reason. Now, you are going to be cross multiplying. So you need to put brackets around your binomial. So you're going to multiply 2 with x plus 7, and you're going to multiply 3x with x plus 1. Okay, so we get 3x times x plus 1 is equal to 2 times x plus 7. Now, straight away, we notice something that we haven't really sort of seen here before. I'm just going to move that up a little bit. And that's, we're going to end up with something that's quadratic, because we're going to end up with 3x squared when we multiply 3x with x. 3x times 1 is 3x. And on the right-hand side, 2 times x is 2x, and 2 times 7 is 14. If we're solving for x and we're working with a quadratic, the rule is that we've got to get everything onto one side, let it equal 0, and then factorize. So in this particular case, do you have to cross multiply? You do. You do, Lebogang, you have to cross multiply. Cross multiplying is like multiplying both sides by 2 and both sides by x plus 1. Okay, so it's a very important, useful skill, especially when you're working in geometry, in order to get rid of your denominators in one step. Okay, but yes, you have to cross multiply. There's no other way that you would be able to do this. Sure, you can multiply both sides by 2, but then you also still have to multiply both sides by x plus 1. Okay, Lebogang, because the left-hand side is being divided by 2. So what you do to the left-hand side, you've got to do to the right, so times by 2 times by 2. But the right-hand side is also being divided by x plus 1, so you've got to multiply by x plus 1 on both sides. If you cross-multiply, it does it for you in one step. That's the beauty of it. Okay, that's what cross-multiplying actually is. All right. Anyway, I hope that's clear. All right, so where are we? We are now here with 3x squared. And then I'm going to bring this 2x over to the other side. So 3x minus 2x is going to give me plus 1x. Now my 14 is going to come over. It's going to change its sign, and I'm going to end up with this. Is this where you were? Is this where you got stuck?
Yes, ma'am, that's where I got stuck.
Okay, so so this is where you got stuck, okay? Now, the thing is that you actually know how to do this because you've been solving quadratic equations since grade 10, all right? So if you find it difficult to factorize, you can use the
quadratic formula.
That's it. That's it. You're going to use the quadratic formula. Okay, so if you find it difficult to factorize, use the quadratic formula. Remember, the quadratic formula is x equals negative b, so that will be negative 1 plus or minus. The value of b in this case is 1 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, so if you use the quadratic formula, that's fine. Otherwise, you can factorize. So we would put 3x here and x there. So we want plus 1 in the middle. So if I use 7 and 2, I put 7 there and I put 2 there, that will give me 6. That will give me 7. So I want that one to be plus and I want that one to be minus. Okay, so either x is going to be equal to negative 7 over 3, or x is going to be equal to 2. Now we're going to have to just talk here about, there we go. Well done. Yes, lovely. Okay, no problem. There you go, Jamie. Then you can carry on working with that triangle. Okay, so either x is going to be equal to negative 7 over 3, or x is going to be equal to 2. Now, if we go back and have a look at these values that we're working with over here, right? Remember, 3x is the length of side KN. X plus 7 is the length of side KP. X plus 1 is the length of side PM. Now, can distance ever be negative?
No.
No, distance
No,
can never
ma'am.
be negative. So absolutely. So if side KN is equal to 3x, and we've now worked out that one of our x values is a negative, all right, we're going to end up with a negative answer because a negative times a negative is a sorry, a negative times a positive is going to give us a negative. So in this case here, all right, we will say no, it is not possible for x to be a negative number because we can't have our sides ending up with negative values. So the only thing that x can be equal to is 2 in this regard. Okay, does that make sense, Matrix? Yes, Siatemba.
Ma'am, let's say if you have a calculator that can do quadratic equations, can you just write quadratic equations in your sum and get the mark, or do you have to rewrite the whole entire formula out?
You don't have to rewrite the whole formula, but you have to show that you've subbed into it. So what would happen in a situation like this, Siatemba? Let's just talk about where the marks would be allocated. So there would definitely be a mark for your statement and a mark for your reason. Okay, then here what they often do in matric is they give you an accuracy on this line. Now, if you leave off the equals 0, they'll take the accuracy a mark away from you. And that is the same mark that they give you for subbing in here. So you can't write down the formula and not show that you've subbed into it. If you write down the formula, you must show that you've used it. Sishia, do you want to ask a question?
Ma'am, can I just add something to what you've just said?
Yes, of course.
Siatemba, you just need to be very careful, because if you do use your calculator to get the 2 answers, your calculator is going to take you straight to the answer. Now, your answer over here is going to be x is equal to -7/3, and that's what the calculator is going to give you. But if you put it back into the brackets, you're going to have to write 3x plus 7. So your calculator is going to skip the brackets part and take you straight to the answer. So you're still going to have to open the brackets and then invert the sign and put it back in. So be very careful when using your calculator.
Right. So something you cannot do. So what you cannot do this, okay? And I'm stressing this, cannot. If you do this, they will not give you that mark. Okay, so you cannot do that. That's what the calculator will give you, but you cannot do that. All right. Anyway, let's get it off the screen. Okay, so now there was a couple of people. Yes, Siatemba.
I'm sorry to disturb you guys, but the reason why I'm saying that, because at school they did say that, you see, for the step where you said through x plus 7 x brackets, that whole entire step, they said at school I'm allowed to skip that step and showing the quadratic equation on the right hand side of the screen, those 2 steps, and say write down quadratic equation in that area and then go straight to my answer.
No, if you go and have a look at any of the memos, the way things get marked, they definitely would want, if you have had to factorize or use the quadratic formula, you would either have to show your factors or the quadratic formula. Okay, there's normally always an accuracy mark on that. Even to the point where if you had factorized Siatemba and you'd left off the equals 0, they'll take that accuracy mark away from you. So yes, I would say the minimum number of steps that you would need to show in this regard will be where my ticks are. I also think that it would be a good idea for you to show this step over here, your equation in standard form. You have to show your factors and then you've got to write down your answer. Okay, but that's my experience of things. I wouldn't, rather don't take any shortcuts, Sia, because you don't want to end up losing marks because of that. Okay, x is never, no, Tatso, no, not necessarily. It's not that x is never negative. It depends on the situation. Okay, so in a situation like this, if we had, let's say this side over here wasn't 3x, let's say it was something like x plus 9, and this was a bigger number as well, then x could have been a negative value because none of these sides would have ended up being negatives. The only reason that x can't be a negative in this particular case is because we can't have negative lengths. Okay, so that's why we're disregarding x is going to be negative. It's not a case of whenever you get a negative, you just disregard it. It's also context based. So sometimes you'll find in other questions, they'll tell you, you know, you might be solving for R, or you might be solving for A in sequence, well, probably R more than likely, in sequences and theories. And then they might say to you that R is a negative number, or they might say to you that R is a positive number. So, you know, in that regard, then there would be a need for you to disregard one of your answers, but don't just boot it out because it's negative. I think one thing that people always kind of get muddled up with is when we are calculating in sequences and series, all right, term number, then it can't be negative. Okay, so you can't have term number -2, you know, or term number -10. Then it can't be, then things can't be negative. All right, but there's no reason, as I say, in this case over here, it's because it's 3x and a positive times a negative gives us a negative. That's why we're disregarding the negative answer. Okay, does that make sense?
Thank you, ma'am.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. No, not at all. Shia, not at all. That's fine. Not a problem at all. Okay, so what would be important is that on this line over here, okay, that you have accepted the 2 and disregarded the -7/3. Okay, that's what's important. All right, now let's move on. Let's quickly have a look at the next question. All right, now, Jamie, did you manage to do number 4?
I'm still busy with it, ma'am.
You're still busy with it. Can we just go through it quickly and then we can move on to the more difficult questions?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Or is there somebody wants to ask a question?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am,
No, ma'am.
can
Okay.
there's
Yes,
something
go
that
for
I'm
it.
doing. There's something that I'm doing wrong, because when I type in the quadratic formula into my calculator, it gives me 6 instead of 2. And I did it many times, but I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
That's so strange. Coco, what do you think the reason for that could be? You know, what calculator do you have, Noxie? You also got 6. Have I made a mistake then? Hang on a second. Coco, just double check my working here.
No, Lee, I got 2 as well.
Okay.
So I'm not too
So,
sure.
so Pumeza says 6. Yelisi says 6.
Ma'am, I
Oh,
got 2. I
you
got
got
2.
2 as well.
Yeah, I use my calculator can do quadratic equations, and it gave me 2. Same
Okay.
values as yours.
Oh, okay. All right. So Michelle says you've got the same answers as us. Okay. All right. No, I mean, look, I'm not saying I don't make mistakes. I certainly do, and I've got no problem admitting when I'm wrong, and I would be very
but the
sorry.
consensus looks like 2.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
think it's 2. Aisha says 2. Thakira says 2. Pumla got 2.
Guys, if you,
Moxie, I wish I could see your calculator right now to try and understand where it's gone wrong. What you can do you have a Casio calculator?
Yes, ma'am, I do. I have the Casio one.
All right, so just try this, okay? Press Shift 9, 3 equals AC.
Okay.
All right, and just try it again. I'm just going to go through the next question. Okay, so Relo de Kokwe also says she got 2. Who also got 6? Tobile got 6. This is very strange. Hang on a second. Did you guys remember, those of you that got 6, did you remember to put brackets around x plus 1 and x plus 7?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's just try that.
Yes, ma'am.
You did, okay.
Can I address this one in the chat while you continue? I think
Sure. Okay. All right. So as far as this next question is concerned, all right, if we have a look at what we've got, again, we've got a whole side over here. So when they give us the whole side on one side, we've got to work with the whole side on the other side as well. Okay, so now in terms of x, how long is side CD? CD is going to be equal to 5x plus
5.
Plus 5.
Good, absolutely. Good. So 5x plus 5. All right, so now if we just, let me get rid of that. Okay, let's go back here. We've got 2x plus 8, which is EC. So EC over BC, which is 6x minus 4, is going to be equal to, now we've got to do the same thing on this side. So side EC corresponds with side CF. So this will be 5x over here. All over this side is going to be 5x
plus 5.
plus 5. Good, well done. Okay, so now let's move over a little bit and see if we can work this one out. Okie dokie. Again, remember matrix, put brackets around your binomials. Brackets around your binomials. Yes, Temba, what's your question?
Ma'am, could the length be a fraction? Like 4 over 3, something like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Nothing wrong with length being a fraction.
Lee,
Okay, yes.
could I just correct something quickly?
Sure.
If we just look at your quadratic formula in this last question here at the bottom,
Yes.
right at the bottom, it says -1 plus minus the square root of the discriminant, and all divided by 2 multiplied by 3, and not 1.
Oh, that's
the
my
coefficient of x
mistake.
squared is 3. And
Quite right. This over here, A is 3, isn't it? There
Yes,
we
ma'am.
go. All righty. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much for identifying that. All right, so the answers that we have here are in fact the correct answers. Okay, my apologies, matrix. I said 2 times 1 instead of 2 times 3. Okay, well, I'm really glad that we got to the bottom of that. My apologies, matrix. All right. Okay, so here we are. So now we're going to FOIL out these brackets. And we're going to end up with 10x squared plus 10x plus 13x plus 8 times 5 is 40? 45? What's 8 times 5, Coco?
40.
It's 40.
40. Okay. 5x times 6x is going to give us 30x squared, and then 5x times minus 4 is going to give us minus 20x. So again, this looks as though it's going to be quadratic. Let's put this side equal to 0, and we'll move all our terms over to this side. So 30x squared minus 10x squared would leave us with 20x squared. Now we've got minus 20x, minus 10x, minus 13x. So minus 20, minus 10, minus 13 is going to leave us at minus 43. That's not a very nice number, but okay. And then we're going to have to take the 40 over to the other side, minus 40.
Just a step back, ma'am.
Yeah.
Mm.
Did I make a mistake?
Yes. 2x times
Oh.
5x is 10x squared, and then we've got 10x, and then 8 times 5x would have given us 40x instead of 13x. So
I'm so sorry. Thank you.
Thanks, Siyabonga. I'm glad you saw it when I did
Sorry,
as well.
where is my brain right now? Sorry, guys. What am I doing? My apologies. Okay, let me get my head back in the game here. All right, so that means we've got 20x squared, which is correct. Okay, then we've got minus 20, minus 10, minus 40, which is going to leave us with minus 70. Is that right?
Yes, this one is
Okay.
correct.
That one's correct. Okay, minus 40. All right, so Shia, what's your question?
Ma'am, going back to the actual triangle. Can you please go
Yes,
back,
yes, absolutely. I
to the
can go
actual triangle?
back. There we go. There it is.
Ma'am, I see that there by the first step you said that 2x plus 8 over 6x minus 4 is equals to 5x over 5x plus 5. But I don't understand how you did that, because
Okay.
I actually said that CE is equals to BE, and then I substituted the numbers that I had there.
No,
Right.
CE and BE are not equal to one another. What I'm doing here is I'm writing the sides that are in proportion to one another. Okay, so let me put an extra step up here, Matrix, and then we can just carry on going with this question. All right,
Ma'am?
so yes.
I did it completely differently to yours. I don't know if maybe I like, but I did get it. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure there would be other ways that we could possibly do this, different combinations that we could make, but I think this would probably be the most usual one. All right, but let's see whether we get the same answer at the end.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
hoping
let's just
if we get the same answer in the end.
Yeah, let's just see if we get the same answer. Okay, so what we see here, Chia, is that EC,
Yes,
this
ma'am.
little bit over here, over BC, is going to be the same as CF
Over CD.
over CD.
Okay.
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 Okay. Now we're subbing in. EC is 2x plus 8.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. BC is 6x
6x
plus 4.
minus 4.
Minus 4. CF is 5x. And let's get another color here. CD is this whole side. Okay, and that's why it has to be 5x plus 5.
5. Oh,
Okay, does that make sense to you?
yes, it does make sense. Thank you very
All
much,
right.
ma'am.
No, it's a pleasure. No problem at all. Okay, so now if you wanted to, you could actually go straight from this step over here. So 20x squared minus 70x minus 40, go straight into the quadratic formula if you wanted to. Or you could divide through by 10 and write this as 2x squared minus 7x minus 4. Again, Matrix, if you are going to use the quadratic formula, you need to show that step, or else you need to factorize. If we use the quadratic formula, and please do not let me get it wrong again. Coco, watch me like a hawk, okay? And if I make a mistake, shout at me. Okay, minus 7 squared.
Watching.
Good.
Watching
4 times 2 times negative 4 all over 2a, and that would be 2 times 2. Okay, so otherwise our alternative at this point is to factorize. So we would have 2x in the one bracket, x in the other. Don't forget the equal 0. Okay, so with 4, if I put 4 there and 1 here, then we could end up with minus 8 plus 1 gives us the minus 7. Okay, so in this case, x would be equal to minus 1 over 2, or x is
4.
4. Are you guys getting the same answer, Matrix?
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Michelle says, okay, lovely, good job.
I got something different. I think I'm wrong here. I got something different, completely different.
Okay, I wonder
Because
where you went wrong.
Because I said CF divided by CD equals EC divided by BC, and then I said 5x divided by 5 equals 2x plus 8 divided by 6x minus 4, and then I went down there, and I got 30x squared minus 10x minus 40 equals 0. I did my quadratic equation, and then my final answer was x equals 4 over 3, or x minus 1.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, that isn't correct in this instance, Sia. Okay, I'm just trying to think how else we could do this. But I really do think that this is the simplest way. I mean, we could, of course, if we wanted to, we could work out what BE is in terms of X. but that really does seem like a very long way around this particular problem. So we could always say that BE is 6x minus 4 minus 2x minus 8. And then we could put BE over EC equals DF over FC, or any one of those sort of proportion statements. But I think this would be the sort of simplest way for us to be able to do this. Yeah, Tatso, signs are absolutely crucial. Okay, so if I muddle these signs up over here and I make this bracket the minus and that one the plus, it's going to make a complete difference. Okay, so yes, very, very important. And again here, Matrix, in the context of this particular question, because we've got this side that's just 5x, it doesn't make sense for us to have an answer of x equals -2, because then CF would be a negative length, and that doesn't make any sense. All right, so in this context, again, we're just going to disregard that answer, and we're going to say, well, x has to be equal to 4. Are there any other questions that you want to ask?
No, ma'am.
No, everybody happy?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, marvelous. All right, so just as far as our time was concerned, I'd just like us to try this question over here. And I want us to do this one, number 5, because here we're actually dealing with proportions. Okay, so let's just move this over and make it a little bit bigger, and then we can talk about this question over here. Okay, so let's have a look at number 5. I think we'll manage to get this done. I don't know if we'll be able to do all of them, D, G, G, E, D, H, and HF. But let's just see where we end up. And we've got to worry about time, unfortunately, because you've got to go and do that quiz. All right, so it tells us in triangle DEF, GH is parallel to EF. So that means that DE and DF are cut into the same proportions. DG is to GE. Okay, so DG is to GE is 5 is to 3. Now that's a proportion. It's not an actual length. Then they tell us that DE, so this entire side over here, is going to be equal to 32. Now, very important, Matrix, is 3 plus 8 equal to 32?
No.
Sorry, 3 plus
No,
5. Okay, so 3 plus 5 does not equal 32. So that means that DG cannot be 5 millimeters long and GE cannot be 3 millimeters long. All right. DF, they tell us, let's change color. Let's use green. DF, they tell us, is 24 millimeters. So that's an actual length. And now they want us to calculate the length of DG is the first one. Okay, so let's highlight DG for ourselves. That's this bit over here. Okay. Anyone got any idea how we're going to calculate the length of DG?
Yes, ma'am.
Go for it, Zuliswa.
Ma'am, I was thinking that to calculate length DG, since it's the proportions is 3:5, so we add them,
Yes.
write them together, it becomes 8, and then we say 5 over 8 times 32. Is that correct?
Beautiful. Absolutely fantastic. Okay, I'm so impressed. Well done. Perfect. Okay, so that's like what we were practicing the other day when we were talking about proportions. Okay, so this means that DG in this case would be 20 millimeters. Did I work that out right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct? Okay. Oh, good. All right. So we've done DG. All right. So it is 20 millimeters long. Absolutely. Now we want to work out how long GE is. How would we do that, Matrix?
Okay, ma'am. So let's say 3 over 8 times 32.
Absolutely. How
and
else could you do it? That's excellent, Aisha. How else could we do
Oh.
this? Perfect. There's
You can
one
also
other way
say
we could do
32
it.
minus 20.
Absolutely. Or we could say 32 millimeters minus the 20 that we've already calculated. Okay, the only problem with this, I suppose, is if we made a mistake with the 20, then we would carry our mistake through to the 32. Excellent. Well done, Aisha. That's lovely. Good job. Okay, now we got to work out DH, matrix. How are we going to work out what DH is? Anyone got any ideas? How are we going to work out DH? That's this side over here. Should I highlight it?
Ma'am,
Yes.
can you say DG over what? DG over DE is equal to DH over DF, and then use proportionality.
Okay, so you've said DG over GE. Is that right? Or did you say DG over DE?
Over DE.
Okay, that's fine. Over DE,
Yes.
perfect, is equal to DH over
DH
DF.
over DF.
Beautiful, Akukle, lovely. Okay, so now we've got to use proportionality, intercept theorem to be able to answer this. GH parallel to EF. Excellent. So now that we have some more lengths, we're able to do this. Now we can go and sub in. Beautiful. DG is 20. DE is 32. DH is what we're trying to calculate, and we know that DF is 24. Beautiful, Akukle, well done. All right, so matrix, we're going to have to cross multiply. That gives us 32 DH is equal to 20 times 24 would leave us with 480, if I'm not losing the plot. I hope I'm not. And then we would take 480 and we would need to divide it by 32, which means that DH is equal to 15. Lovely. Okay, and then just very quickly, because you guys have to go and do the quiz now, let's just work out the length of HF. All right, does anybody else want to try that one, how we would work out HF?
Ma'am, can you say 24 minus 15?
Absolutely.
Easy as
How
that.
easy is that? Beautiful. Okay, so HF is going to be 24 minus 15, which means it's going to be 9. Okay. Well done, Noxie. Perfect. All right, Matrix, unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to you now. You need to go and do that quiz. And if you can, please join Coco and I at 6 o'clock, where we will continue with some sort of slightly more difficult problems. All right, hope to see you later.